its ups and downs. Turn your pretty face into an ugly frown. Seems that when I fix one thing.
Hello, welcome to The Awakening. I'm your host, Angela Brown. Today's topic for discussion is X-rays, and my guest is Doug Tull, technologist, X-ray technologist, I should say. He took care of me, and he took an X-ray of me, and there was a lot of kindness and a lot of really, really one-on-one rapport. And he's a good person, and I know he works with people, and I just want you to meet the person who I really, really, really felt comfortable with having an X-ray. Doug, welcome to The Awakening.
Well, thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
How are you
Appreciate
today?
it. Doing great. Thank you very much.
Tell me a little bit about yourself. Like I said, I've never heard the last name Tull, T-U-L-L, before.
Tull is an English name, and a lot of people ask me if I'm related to Jethro Tull. There was a famous band back in the 60s and 70s called Jethro Tull, even though there was nobody in the band by that name. He was a agriculturalist in England back in around 1700 to 1726 or so. He invented something called the seed drill.
The seed drill?
Seed drill, yeah.
D-R-I-L-L?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he wrote a bunch of pamphlets on plowing and, you know, that were new methods. And he went around Europe and studied different farming and plowing methods and wrote pamphlets on it and argued, you know, with other experts at the time. And so it did a lot towards helping out the English agricultural revolution that took place over the next 100 years or so. And that's where the name comes from, and my family is distantly related to him.
Distant related to them?
Yeah, so.
How long have you been a technologist, X-ray technologist?
16 years. I was licensed in 1994, and I've been doing it ever since. You have to update your license, have it renewed every 2 years. Or,
now how do you go about doing that?
Well, there's a state license. I should back up and say there's a state license that you have to have. You have to renew it every 2 years. And then there's the registry association with the American Radiologic Technology, you know, the X-ray Tech Organization's national.
They want to be sure that you know what you're doing.
Yeah, and you have to get 24 continuing education credits every 2 years and, you know, verify that you've done that, and they send you a card to show that you're in good standing.
It's like when I came over to see you for my broken hip, you were just so nice. I mean, like I told you, when they first took me to the hospital, they just wanted to just drag my body and throw me on the thing to do the X-ray. But you weren't like that. You took your time to help me get on that table, and I really respected you for that.
Well, thank you.
And that's why you're here. I guess this is my best way of saying, hey, thank you. You're a good person. You do a good job.
Well, you did a pretty good job of walking in there yourself, too. I mean, with your,
I didn't bring my walker with me, did I? I left it out in that office.
But you did well, and I was just there to help. And
no, but you were there with kindness, which I hadn't got a whole lot of the whole time I've been going through this thing.
Well, that's a shame.
I know it's a shame.
It's a shame.
Because everybody deserves better. Now, you're a married gentleman.
Married, yes.
Okay.
Gentlemen, I don't know, but you know, that's the jury's still out on that.
You have children. I see you have 2 grown daughters.
2 grown daughters. One still lives at home. She's going to school and working a couple of part-time jobs.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
What do they want to be? X-ray technologists as well?
Oh, no. My one is at home now, wants to work with special education, so she's taking classes and kind of going in that direction. My oldest daughter lives up in York, Pennsylvania with her husband.
Okay.
And she was an art school student. She was doing very well, but then she decided to get married, so she may go back to it and get her degree.
She doesn't have any children yet?
No, not yet.
That's good to take your time, don't you think, to find out what you want to do?
Yeah, have a little fun.
Have a little fun, exactly, instead of hopping right into getting married.
Yeah.
So you've been doing this for 16 years. How long have you been working at the center that I met you in?
6 years.
6 years?
Yeah.
How often have you moved and changed jobs?
In X-ray?
In X-ray.
Well, for the most part, for the first 10 years, I worked in what's called portable X-ray or mobile X-ray. I worked for a company that would send technologists out with a car or a little van that had an X-ray unit in it and an EKG machine, and we'd also put Holter monitors on people 24-hour Holter monitors.
What do you mean Holter monitor?
It's a little thing that records the heartbeat over a certain period of time, 12 or 24 hours, whatever the the doctor wants. Basically, it has a little cassette tape in it, and it moves extremely slowly. And you tape it to the body, certain leads, just like you would with an EKG, and then they take it and send it off to cardiology office, and they look it over and see if there's any abnormalities. And we do EKGs for people, and then we would do X-rays at nursing homes, jails, sometimes private homes or group homes, things of that nature, depending on what kind of business the company would like to do.
What pushed you into something like this, or what led you to something like this?
I've been a musician all my life.
Really?
Yeah, and I've always worked jobs around that to support myself while I was being a musician. And of course, in the entertainment business,
What do you play?
I'm a drummer.
A drummer?
Yeah.
You still do it today?
Yeah, still do.
Where do you do it at? Do you do dances and things like that?
Occasionally, depends on who I'm playing with. Right now I'm playing with a songwriter from Tacoma Park named Billy Coulter. Been with him for about 8 years. But sometimes I fill in for other local groups.
What's so strange about this, because Eddie Arnold was my dad, my biological father.
Really?
He was my biological father.
I love Eddie Arnold.
So did I.
Wow,
So
I had
did
no
I.
idea. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
But he and my mother went through a divorce when I was very little. So I was raised by someone else. So when the dad now that I just lost I was close to, but with my dad, Eddie Arnold, I saw him quite often if I wanted to. But I was still kind of pulled between a rock and a hard place, because it's hard to spread out the love for two people.
Yeah.
And but
hard.
God, I loved his music. I
My
loved
Cattle
his
Call is
music.
still one of my favorite country songs. I love
Yes,
that
I
song.
do.
I have it in my car, actually.
Do
I
you
listen to it.
really?
Oh, yeah. I love that song.
I love that one. Daddy's Little Girl, he said that was the one he wrote for me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he's been gone a few months now. He died.
Yeah, I
But
remember
his
he
wife,
passed.
my stepmother, if you want to call her that, she passed away first, and he only lasted 6 weeks later. So he was happy. And you know, that's all there was about it. He was happy, and I was glad for that.
Gee, that's amazing. I'm really glad to meet you for
Oh,
that.
thank you.
That's amazing.
He was a good guy. He was a good guy. So what pushed you into this X-ray business, or did I ask you that question already?
Well, yeah, I was getting to that. I have worked a bunch of different jobs while I was playing music, because you don't always make a living from playing music, and you have your ups and downs, and different bands form and they break up and stuff. So I've always worked. A lot of musicians I know who are trying to make it try not to work.
Right.
And there's something to be said for that, because they spend all their time rehearsing and playing any gigs they can get, and they get better as musicians. So I don't knock that, but I just decided I wasn't going to be a poor musician.
Right.
So I've always worked. I've waited tables.
You wanted to eat.
Yeah, I've waited tables, and I've, you know, worked as a DJ at a station in Southern Maryland for a few
Really?
years, and I sold real estate for a couple of years. Didn't really like that, but. I was a carpet layer back when I was out of high school. My family was in the carpet business.
You had a lot of skills then.
Well,
You're
yeah.
a go-getter. You just don't sit around and do nothing.
Yeah, well, that's just the thing. And so I just couldn't sit around, like you say. And finally, I decided I wanted to get in one certain thing, and I'd never gone to college. Well, I'd done 1 year of college, community college, when I got out of high school, but just didn't really know what I wanted to do. And then somebody said, well, you can get a degree in nursing or X-ray technology or nuclear medicine. It's a 2-year degree, and you can get a pretty decent paying job. And so I looked into it, talked to some people who were into it, and started going to PG Community College. And
But did nursing, that sounds like a woman's job. This is the first thing.
well, a lot of women have gotten into nursing, and there's that, you know,
kind of stigma.
kind of a stigma to that. But no, there are a lot of male nurses, and they do very well. And it's a very highly respected career choice, male or female, and they're in quite the demand right now too, nationwide. So
Let me ask you this question. When you're in a band, is it true that the guys do a lot of drugs?
it depends on the guys.
Depends on the guys? Because I asked my father that, and he said there's some.
There are some, yeah. No, in fact, I read biographies of musicians all the time.
Do you really? Who have you read about?
I just finished reading a large biography of the Beatles by a gentleman named Spitz.
The Beatles. Did you like the Beatles?
I love the Beatles.
I met them
That's
in
the reason I got into
Paris.
music. Did you really?
Yes. I lived in Paris. My husband was a military officer over there, and he worked for Shape. I think it was called Shape.
Shape.
And he worked on the Champs-Élysées.